Welcome to the Series 2009 Agency Receivables Reporting class. Today's class will be a review of the common receivables reporting tools, and we'll cover several different reports. We'll start off with some reports that are located in the same area, which is departments, financial management, receivables, and reports. The first report that we're going to review is the Aged Accounts Receivable report, located here. The Aged Accounts Receivable report is used to see the aged remaining balances for each agency. Ceres will list the agency transactions by transaction date or due date, and to limit the amount of information in the report, you can set filters before you print or sort the report. You can either enter filters manually by entering them in these fields below, or you can use the drop-down to select from the available fields to filter on in each filter field. So obviously if you're looking for agency number, you're going to find it here. If you want to do it by agency posting group, you have different options to select from here. You can filter by anything that basically is available on the agency. You can also add additional filters to limit the totals. You can select your aged as of date. So if you want to run an aging as of, and we'll just make this, well, this database is fairly, doesn't have super up-to-date data, but we'll just make it through the end of 2011. And you can choose whether or not you want to, this is what's considered the Options Fast tab. And on the Options Fast tab, of course, you enter your age as of date in month, day, year format, but it will update based on, if you just enter 12, oops, I got that a little bit wrong. I needed 12/31/11. If I just enter that, it will actually fill in the full date in there. The aging method, or the aged by, you can select either trans date, due date, or document date. So if you want it to be aged by transaction date, you would leave trans date as the selection. The length of aging periods, this is going to be, if you have, of course, 30D, it's going to be 30 days. If you want to have your aging period slightly different, then you can update this. D stands for day, W for week, M for month. And that's pretty much probably all you would use in here. The show if overdue by, I guess if you want to add in if they're to further filter it to show if they're overdue by a certain date range, you can select that here. We're going to leave it blank for purposes of running the report. If you want to show all for overdue agencies, you would check this box. And to print amounts in agency's currency, since most likely everybody's going to be in the same currency, you can just leave that blank. If you want to print detail, then you would check this box to include the individual transactions. If you want just a summary transaction for each, so that you just see their balances and you don't want to see the individual transactions, then you would uncheck that. If you want to also have the report go to Excel, then you can check the print to Excel box. And as I mentioned before, you can enter filters down here if you want to restrict it so that you only see agencies within a certain posting group or that have a certain payment terms code, or any other filter that you have available from the agency. So you can select from the options here. So if you want to find only those that have a balance due over a certain amount, for example, if you only wanted to see those with a balance due over $100, you could put that in the balance due field as a filter, or any amount that you want to see here, you can add to the filter options. And if you just want to see all, you would leave that blank. So whatever filters you put here will restrict the data that you get in the report, and up here determines how the report is going to display the data. Obviously, if I click on print, it's going to make a much prettier report, but then we would have to wait for it to go to a different screen and bring it up. So I'm going to do preview, which is going to make it a little bit, well, it's not so pretty. Let's just put it that way. But it brings up my aging report, and I'll make this a little bit bigger so that hopefully you can see it. And it brings up the agency number, which is over here on the left-hand side, and then agency name. So along with each number is the agency name, their phone number, and then it also gives, because we have details showing, it's got our transaction date, the description of the transaction, what type of transaction it is, what the document number is, the balance, what's current, what's 31 to 60 days, 61 to 90, over 90, and then of course the total. So it will break it down and show you that information for each agency that meets the filter criteria when running the report. So this is the aged accounts receivable report. There's also a aged parent report, or parent age report, which is this one right here, the aged parent accounts receivable. So if you're using parent agencies and you want to get a report by the parent agencies, then you can input or use this report instead. And let's go ahead and pick the same date range, and let's do print detail, and I don't think it had any filters down here. You can see there's now a tab for parent agency. If I drag this down a little bit, you can see there's a tab for adding filters on the agency or on the parent agency. So you can, again, click to add filters and choose from fields available, in this case on the parent agency card. So if you wanted to filter, by credit limit or some other nebulous, no, I'm just kidding, some other field, then you could select that here. And also you can select from fields that are available on the agency. And if you don't want to have any limits to the data that's included in the report, then you can leave those all blank. And again, if you want to change how it's aged, if you want to show overdue for all overdue for agency, I didn't have that. Okay, so it tells me if I try to select that I can only select that option if I've selected age by due date, because obviously transaction date doesn't have anything to do with the date that an invoice is due. So in order for me to show all for overdue agency, I would have to select due date as the type. And then it says that show only overdue by needs a valid date formula. So I would have to put in a date formula in order to show that. So I'm not even really sure what date formula would be used in here. So I guess I could say more, I don't know if it's more than 30 days. Well, maybe that works. So we'll give that a shot. And let's make that a little bit bigger. So now we have it by parent agency, so you'll notice that the number showing here is different than what we saw before. And we see it as a breakdown by parent agency rather than a breakdown by the individual agency. So if you're not using parent agencies, then of course this report's not going to be anything that you would ever run. If you are using parent agencies and you want it by parent agency rather than by the individual agency, then you can use this report instead, or you can use the parent agency report the agency AR, aged AR that we used previously. And when we get to the end of the report, we will have a total. So it's going to show the total amount due and in which column it is. In this case, it's in the last column, which means it's older than 60 days. And of course, it's because we're running it on some old data and it's been around there for a while. Hopefully yours, you won't have any like that. So those are the aged AR and the aged parents AR receivables report, both located under financial management, receivables, and reports. Or if you just search in the field up here for aged accounts receivables, then you can go directly to report, or if you click over on the right here, it'll take you to this list. The next report that we want to look at is the parent agency and agency listing reports. And the parent agency report, or parent agency listing report, I believe it's here. I just can't see it right at the moment. So, oh, there it is, right there. So parent agency listing, again, if you're not using parent agencies, then you would probably not run this report. But you can run this report to get a list of the parent agencies as well as their child agencies, and it lists it in parent agency order. It includes the number, name, address, city, state, zip, contact, and phone number. So I'm going to leave the filters blank just so we can get everything on here. And again, the report may, well, it's not too bad. Say it might not be too super pretty since we're previewing it, but it lists the parent agency and then all of the child agencies underneath it. Gives us the name, the address, if there's any value in the address to field, the city, state, zip, who the contact is, and what the phone number is. So this report is a nice little listing report. It's different than the agency listing report, and I'll show you that in just a moment. So you can see that there's, as it gets to just one parent agency and an agency combination, then you don't have as much underneath it. So parent agency listing report, and then the agency listing report. This report, you can choose to show customers, or which would be agencies with balances only, or if you leave this blank, it's going to show you every agency in the system. You can filter further by other fields that are available on the agency. We're going to leave all the filters blank for now, but if you want to, add any other filters that if you don't see them here in the drop down, then you can select. So if you wanted to look for all your agencies that are permitted for web ordering, for example, then we could select a filter for permit web orders equals yes, and then we would see only our agencies in a list view that are permitted for web ordering. And this report looks a little bit different, as you can easily tell from the parent agency one, because this one gives you a little bit more information. So it's by agency. It gives us the name, contact, address, contact, and phone number, what posting group they're in, whether or not they're blocked. If there are any comments, then it will display below here. What their discount, usually if you're not using discounts, you probably don't care about that much, but shows you their discount number, and then their area code, their terms, so what their payment terms are. And then on the top line, the credit limit, and on the bottom line, their balance. So if they don't have a balance, then it's going to not display anything underneath here. It's just going to display their credit limit. In this one, you'll see it says that they're over their limit. They have a balance of $24.61, and their limit's $2,000, so it gives you a message letting you they're over their limit. Now, I didn't filter this report to show us only those with a balance, but if you had, then it would leave off all these ones that do not currently have a balance on the card. So if we were to rerun the report, and this time we choose those with balances only, we'll leave the permit web orders equals yes on there. And then let's make that a little bit bigger. So now we see only the ones that have a balance, and anytime there's one that is over their limit, it will show us this message. So slightly different format from the parent agency listing report, but gives you great information, and you can filter it by all the filters that are available on the agency card in order to restrict what you see when you run the report. Okay, the next report that we're going to review is the top agency list report. That is this report here. And one thing I want to note is that if you don't have any fees that you charge your agencies, then using show balance dollars is not going to bring you any results because it's not looking at, this report doesn't give you an option of showing distributions by, top distributions by pounds. You only have either sales or balance. So I'm sorry, I had that wrong there. But if this is sales and you don't have any fees associated with your agency orders, then running the report with show sales would not bring back any results. However, running it by balance will show you, in this case, if I choose number of agencies to rank as 10, it will bring back the top 10 agencies by balance. So the agency with the highest balance and then moving down 10. You can put up to 99 as the number to rank. And of course, if you want to print to Excel, you can check that box and it will also export the data to Excel. You can use any fields that are available on the agency card to filter by. So if you don't see one that you want here, you can add a filter and select. So, if I wanted to use permit web orders again to only see the ones that are permitted for web ordering, or, any other field on here I can select. And then, of course, your date filter. So if you want to see the top agencies by balance within a certain time frame, you can enter a date filter down here. And then you can, of course, run the report. And we'll do this in preview. It may not be super pretty. That's not horrible. Now, I chose 19. It got to, let's get this a little bit bigger here. And it got to, down here, and it can't really show us the little graphical representation anymore after that point, it looks like. But all the rest of these have, so there were 26 that had balances in that time frame. And this one here at the top had the highest balance, and moving on down. So again, this report will show you by balances. If you have fees, then you can run it by sales and get your listing by sales. And let me just try that here on this one with the date range that we put. I'm going to actually change this to 10 to rank. Oop, not 0. Okay, so this ranks it by sales rather than balances. So you can see this is the percentage of how much, these people had so much more in sales in that time frame than anybody else, that they brought up 53.8. Now, we didn't do it by percentages, so if you take 90.1 for our top 10 and then 9.9 for all the other agencies, we get a total of 100%. But we only decided to show 10. If we had shown 99, I'm assuming we would have maybe got all of them, unless we have more than 99 agencies in the database. But this report is limited to show you only the top 99. The next report that we're going to look at is the Agency Item Statistics Report. You'll see that report is located right here. And this report lists items distributed to an agency or a range of agencies, and it displays the item number, description, quantity, unit of measure, amount, and some other fields. In the Options tab, you can choose if you wanted to print one page per account. Typically, you would leave that blank. If you want to print the report to Excel, you would choose this option. If you want to print it to PDF or to your screen, then you can leave that unchecked. If you want to filter the results of the Agency Item Statistics Report by any field that's available here, or again, if you want to add a filter and select, then you can select from your available options. If you don't see it there, go to Additional, and then you can look for it. You can also use your keyboard. For example, if I'm looking for permit web orders, I can type P until I find permit web orders, and there it is. So I'm going to take off the agency posting group filter that I have on here, although I think that's the only one that we use in this database, but even though there's three there. And then I'm going to choose to show only those where, actually this time I'm going to choose permit web orders equals no. So I'm going to find all the agencies that had distributions in this time frame that are not my web permitted agencies. And so I've got January 1 through 7/31 of 2012. And of course in this database I'm not sure if we have anything in there, but we'll find out. Okay, we do. So it shows me my filters at the top, permit web orders equals no, and my date filter of January 1 through 7/31. And then it shows me the agency and all of their individual items that were distributed to the agency during that time frame, and then the total amount, and there's some other figures here, contribution ratio, discount. Again, it's not super pretty because we're previewing it, but if you want, you can do it to Excel, whatever's easier. And then at the end of the report, oops, let's see if we can go to the end of the report this way. At the end of the report, you'll have a total. Actually, did it show me? There we go. There it is, way down at the bottom there. So we have a report total on this report as well. Now, I believe, let me see if I go back to this report one more time. Okay, nope, it's not this report there. I thought this was one where we could just show the summary, but I think there may be another report that shows the summary detail. And let's see if I can find that one. Agency item, there we go. Agency item statistics detail summary. So it's located in the warehouse inventory report section, or you can go directly to the report by typing it in the search box and then going to the report. And this one allows us to either print detail or not print detail. So if we just want a summary report, we can uncheck that box. And let's put in our filter that we had on the other one, which was permit web orders equals no. All right, and then we don't have print detail checked, so we should get a summary. Oh, and I think I have a different date range on here, so I probably should go back and change that. Oh, in fact, I did not put a date range on here, so let's make sure we do that. So we're going to set a date filter, and we're going to make it 01/01/12 through 07/31/12. And, oh, somehow there's a filter on here, as you can see, which is helpful because I didn't notice that I had an item filter on. But as you can see, there's a filter for just this one item. And there's also a posting date filter on here. So I have some other filters on here that I didn't see. So they probably are hidden. So we're going to go back to the report, and we're going to remember that we have a filter for item number and for posting date. So let's go run that again. And let's make this a little bit bigger here. So there's another tab here, Item Ledger Report View, and if we expand this, we'll see that those filters that we saw on the report were here. So you want to make sure that you're, of course, showing all of your screen so that you make sure you don't have any filters that you didn't expect to have on the report when you run it. So now when we run it, we should get quite a bit more information because we know that when we ran the other agency item statistics report, we had a lot more information. Of course, we are taking off the item transaction detail. So now we just get a summary by agency, which is a little bit cleaner. It shows us the agency number and name, quantity distributed during that time frame, the total gross weight, and the fees. So personally, I like this report better than the just the agency item statistics report. The name looks the same, but up here, of course, it says detail summary. And I'm going to run it one more time, but this time I'm going to choose to include the detail just so you can see the difference. So now, of course, it breaks it down with the individual detail by agency. And we have all of our transactions, their total quantity, their total gross weight, and their total fees. And then the next agency, their total quantity, gross weight, and fees. So you can use that report to get detail about what distributions were done during the time frame that you select. Okay, so that was the agency item statistics detail summary report. The next report that we're going to look at, or the next two reports we're going to look at, are the agency statement and the parent agency statement. The agency statement report is used to print agency statements on like generic forms or plain paper. And in order to run it, you have to enter a date filter to establish the statement date for your open item statements or a statement period for balance forward statements. And let's go find that report. So we're going to look for agency statement. And the agency statement and parent agency statement report are located here under the documents section of financial management, receivables, and then documents. And so you have agency statement and parent agency statement. The parent agency statement lists the balance due for each agency associated with the parent agency, and also it's provided in statement format and can be run with the same types of options as the agency statement report. So we'll just look at the agency statement report. On the options tab, you can choose whether you want to print all that have entries or only all that have a balance, or I don't know that these kind of go together, but if you want to see all the agencies that have any entries during the time frame, then you would check this box. If you want to see only those that have a balance at the end of the time frame, then you would check that box. You can choose update statement number if you're actually printing. If you're previewing it, then it's going to give you an error message. But what that does is if you've selected update statement number and you print the statements, then it will go back to the agency card and update the statement number field on the agency. I believe it's on the invoicing fast tab, and it will put in the statement number. So every time you run statements, it will increment by 1. I believe it starts with 1 and just goes forward. Again, you can only have this checked if you're actually printing. If you try to preview with that selected, it will tell you that you must print statements if you want to update statement numbers. So it gives you a little warning. So if you're choosing the print option and you're actually printing, then it will update the statement number. Otherwise, if you're just previewing, then you'll need to uncheck that box. If you wish to print the company address, in other words, your food bank address on the statement, then you would check this box. And here you can choose your statement style. Do you want to see open items, or do you want to see it by balance? So you can choose how you want the statement style to be displayed. And then you choose your aged by. Obviously, if you choose a statement style that doesn't match the aged by selection, you're going to get a warning message. So if you want to do by due date and see the balance, and again, here's your length of aging period, so 1M is 1 month. This field is not, it's grayed out, so, and I'm not even sure what log interaction means, so we leave it blank. You'll notice down here under the agency fast tab, there's an option to select this print statements. What this is for is, let's say you have certain agencies that you run statements for often, and then the rest of your agencies, you only run them on occasion. So if you wanted to, on the agency card, there's a field for print statements equals yes, or it's a checkbox basically. And I think that's also on the invoicing tab of the agency. In fact, let's just go take a quick peek here. I'll have to hit cancel. And we'll go to agencies. And we'll go edit the agency. So you'll notice my test agency on the, I'm sorry, I said invoicing tabs, but it's actually on the payments fast tab. It says print statements and it has a checkbox. What that means is if I run my statement report and I choose print statements equals yes, then only the agencies that have a checkbox in this field will the system print statements for. I can rerun it for all of them, or where print statements equals no if I want to get the rest of my agencies, or if I want to get all of the statements regardless of whether this is checked or not, then I would just leave that filter off when running the statements report. So we'll go back now to our agency statement. And we're going to first have it so that print statements is yes, because I know there's at least one agency that has a value in that field, the one that I just showed you. Now, I've got quite a date range here, and I'm going to see if I can get any data if we just do the beginning of the year through now. Let's get that a little bit expanded here. Okay, so we can see all of our stuff. And we know that these are the only two tabs available on this report because we can collapse them, expand them, so there's not any hidden filters that we're not seeing. So I'm going to click preview, and of course I didn't catch that print that it says you must print statements if you want to update statement numbers, and that's because I forgot to uncheck update statement number. I have to take that out. So it only printed four, because there were only 4 agencies that have print statement equals yes on the agency card. So I only get 4 pages of statements. And based on how I aged it, determines what I'm going to see in my current, my 30, and notice it's 32 to 62, 63 to 92, over 92 days for my aging. And to be honest, I'm not sure why, because I thought it said 30 days on there, but I could just be clueless. That does say 1 month. Let's just try 30 days instead of 1 month. See if it changes it up. Yes, it does. So apparently 1 month was including some months that are 31. So we'll set it to 30 days instead, and now we get current is up to 30 days, and then the next grouping is 31 to 60, and so on. So if I go back and I run the report again, but I leave off the print statements equals yes, I'm going to just uncheck it so that there's no value, meaning I'll get all agencies regardless of what this setting is on their card. And now I get 36 pages instead of just 4. And it gives me the information. Again, it's not super pretty because I'm previewing it, but you get the idea. And you can just play with the report to determine how you want your statements to look. So you can come in and try it with, statement style as balance, or with open item. Play with your aging, how you want it to be aged by. And then you'll find the way that you like it, and then you can keep running it in the same manner each time. In addition to the agency statement report, as I mentioned, is the parent agency. So if you want to run it, if you are using parent agencies and you want to run it for parent agencies, there's an extra field here that we didn't have on the agency statement, and that's a message. So you can add something like, thank you for your prompt payment. Whatever you want to put. And then, of course, enter in your date filter. I missed a number there. So now it's by parent agency instead of by agency. So it shows us the parent agency number and the agency number. So you'll notice, like for the parent agency lease, there was agency 1 and agency 2. For PA-001, we've got A-0001, and then -2, and then we go on to a different parent agency. So this just displays that if you're using both parent agencies and agencies and you want to break it out, it does give you 1 page per agency. So at least if you're sending it to the parent, they're going to see all the agency information broken out on a different page. Okay, the next report that I wanted to review is the agency order status report. And this report displays any outstanding agency orders in the system. So if you want to see what you have open right now, you can get to the agency order status report by going to Agencies and Receivables, Inventory and Fees and Reports. And then the agency order status report is located here. And you have several different filters here. You can filter by item. So if you want to look for all items that are, or all orders that are open that have a specific item on them, you can come in here and select because you're on the Item Fast tab, you can select the item here from the drop down, or you can type it in. I don't know if any offhand what we might have out there by specific items, so I'll leave it blank. You can also filter by location if you want. So if you want to find only open agency orders by a specific location, you can use the drop down to find your locations and select them. You can also do it by shipment date. So if you want to find all your open orders up through or on a specific shipment date or in a shipment date range. So maybe I want to find all the open ones from July 1st through today. And then again, you can also filter by a document number or a range of document numbers, or in this case it's by agency, but if I wanted to add document number, I could do that. There we go. So if I wanted to filter for a specific document number or a range of document numbers, I can do that. But typically you're looking for your open orders. You don't necessarily know what the open order numbers are. You just want to find out based on either shipment date or maybe order date, whatever option you want to use. And you can add more by going here to add filter again and selecting. So if you want to do it by order date, if it's not showing there, then hit additional and type O until you find order date. And it doesn't look like order date is an option here, so it'd be posting date, or of course we picked shipment date. So we'll go ahead and hit preview. And looks like we did not find anything, so we'll go back, and of course like I said, I'm not sure exactly what I have open in this date range. We'll go find out. And we have got some old stuff in there. Oh, we have a June 1st one in that batch. And let's check the other batch here. We have some more stuff from 2011, but not really much in 2012. So we'll run it for 2011 and maybe we'll find some stuff. So that is the agency order status report. So we're going to put in 04/01/11 through 07/31/11. And now we get some results because we actually have some data in this database with those dates. And so it shows us our open order shows us the item and then the document number that the item's on. And so this is actually this particular report is broken down by items. So it gives you it by item, and then it shows you what orders that item is on, what the shipment date is for the orders. And again, this is not very pretty, so some of the fields are cut off, but if we printed it, it would hopefully look better. The total quantity, if any's been shipped, what the outstanding quantity is, and the outstanding gross weight, fees that are associated with those orders, and then the outstanding amounts. So that is the agency order status report. The next thing that we're going to look at is not really a report, it's actually a form. And we're going to go through the agency days and hours. And the agency days and hours, the purpose for it is to be able to set up the days and hours of operations for your various agencies. And that allows you to kind of have a good idea of when they're open. And it may be important for some reporting. Depends on what state you're in. You might have to report for grants, such as the HIPNAP grant, depending on what state you're in. To access the agency days and hours, there are two different places you can get to it, either from the agency list or the agency card. And in either cases, it's accessed from the related information command bar. And we're just going to go up here and we're going to type in agency days and hours, and you can also get to the overall one. So two ways to get there, from the agency itself, where you can go in one at a time and enter the agency days and hours, or you can come to the overall agency days and hours form, and you can start adding in all of them here. So instead of just seeing one individual agency days and hours at a time, you can see the whole kit and caboodle. So if you wanted to add a new agency and their days and hours, then you can come up here and click on New, and you can select your agency from the list of agencies, or you can simply type them in. And then you can put in the day of week that they're open, and of course if they're open more than one day of the week, then you would put in more than one line. So Let's hope they're not open on Sunday, but maybe they are. They're open on Monday, and if their morning opening hour is at 9 a.m., you can type in 0900 and hit enter, and it will populate with 9 a.m. And if they close at 11:30 in the morning, and then they reopen again at 1 o'clock, you can put in 1300. And then their afternoon closing hour is at 2 o'clock. You can put in, they're only open an hour, 1400. Now, if they're open continuously from 1 hour to the next, you don't have to put in the morning closing hour and the afternoon opening hour. You can just leave it blank and only fill in the morning opening hour and the afternoon closing hour. Let's see here. The copy to functionality, we'll go over that in just a second. You can enter comments. Let me grab this and pull it over so we can see a little bit more information here. So if they were open 24/7, you can check this box. I would assume most of them are not open 24/7, but it is available. You can add any comments that you want to put about their days and hours. So you might say second Monday only open morning hours. So maybe typically every Monday they're open these hours, but on the second Monday of the month they're only open in the morning hours. So you can type in the notes there. The frequency, it honestly does not say what the frequency field does here. So I'm not sure what was intended to be put in this field, if it's like, 3 times a month or what it looks like. It's just a field that you can fill in. So I'm not sure what it was intended for. It's on the screen here, but there's no documentation as to what the frequency column was meant to do. So I guess if you know, then you can fill that in. If not, then leave it blank. Meal types. If you have certain meal types for this agency, you can type in that information here. I'm just going to make something up here. And then, as I mentioned before, if you need to create multiple lines for that agency, then you would insert a new line. The copy to functionality, so it says if you have several agencies with similar hours, you may use the copy function to update other agencies, and you would use the function button to select, copy to, and you can select what agency you want to copy this information to. So if I want to copy it from A-1031 to A-1041, and now I get a message that says you must filter for a single or set of agencies on the Copy to Agency tab. Oh, because I don't know what I got before, but Copy to Agency. So somehow I think I clicked on something odd there, but we're going to copy to Agency where'd it go? A104.1. There we go. So you can choose if you only want to copy one day of the week, or if you want to copy everything that you've created for the agency number that you're copying from, you can. And so then it asks you copy the agency days and hours for A-103-121 agencies. And it says existing records will not be overwritten. So if you already had a record in for the agency that you're copying the data to, it won't get overwritten. So now it's copied the information from A-103-1 to A-104-1. I'm thinking this could also work for, well, no, I guess it wouldn't work for copying to the same agency. And the reason why is because you can't have two records with the same agency number and the same day of the week. So if they're open multiple days of the week, then you could create a new line, copy from the line above, change your day, and then copy all the information across using F8. And of course, this isn't a Monday, so we'll leave that off. Copy that, and then we can repeat the process. So maybe they're not open on Thursdays, or I mean Wednesdays, but they're open on Thursday. So you can just type in part of the day of the week, and then maybe their hours are different on Thursdays. Maybe they're open from 10 and they don't close and they close at 3 o'clock. So that's how you can fill out multiple agency days and hours at a time without having to go into the individual agency card, or you can do it directly from the agency card or the agency list view. If you're adding, just say, a new agency and you want to add them to the agency days and hours, you don't have to come here to this form. You can do it from the agency directly. So if we leave here and go out to just the agency list, and if I want to add days and hours for my test agency here, I go to related information, agency days and hours, and then I can put in the information here. And we'll put in, 8:30 to noon. And we'll put in Friday, same. And so we just added it just to this agency. And if we go back and look at our overall agency days and hours, we will see that my test agency, where is my test agency? Right here, A001. So these are the ones that I just added. And they got added to this form because this is a compilate form for all the agencies that have days and hours set up. There is a document on agency days and hours set up, and that should be available online as well. So if you have further questions about it, you can always refer to that. All right, the next report, and actually I think it's the last report that we're going to look at today, is the items on agency orders report. And this report is one that can be run basically it provides an alternative option to setting up and using the WAP, and it does not suggest specific pallets or lots to move. It basically just lets you see items that are on released agency orders, so that if any product needs to be moved or dropped to fulfill the orders for a specified shipment date, you'll get that information on this report. And again, it's in place of running the WAP. If you're not, a big enough food bank and you don't use a warehouse activity plan, then you can run this report instead. So I'll go up here and type in 8 items on agency orders, and it's located in warehouse planning and execution reports. And that is items on agency orders, which is right here. And typically you're going to run this report by a shipment date, and it's only going to show those items that are on released agency orders. So if you haven't released the agency order yet, then the information will not be included in this data or in this report. You'll notice this report is a classic report. It didn't bring up the cool fast tabs. It brought up the old classic style report. I'm not sure in the newer release if it's made into an RTC report or not. But you can filter it by location, by item, and then on the agency order line you can filter it by shipment date. Hopefully we have something out there with August 24th of 11. We'll give it a shot. And we didn't. So I'm going to try a range. I'm going to do something in April because I remember there being some orders in April. Now whether or not they're released, that's another question. And this one just takes a little bit longer to open since it's a classic report. All right, we're going to try April of 11 through July of 11. Normally, you're probably only going to run this for a specific date, but because we have limited data in this test database or demo database, so it says it's not valid. So really, it only wants one day. It tells you a single date filter must be specified. So in order to figure out what date we need to use, we'll have to go back over here and take a look at our agency orders and see if we can find orders that are released. And so we've got a couple orders that are released here. They're pretty old. We're going to do it by status. see what we got in here. So we have one from 2009, two from 2010. So if I run it for posting or a shipment date of August 25th, I should get one order, at least from this batch. Now there may be other batches that have a post or a shipment date that's the same, but at least in this batch we know we have one. Sorry that we have to wait so long for it to open up. All right, we're going to try 08-25-10. Again, this is going to be a current shipment date when you run it. And let's make this bigger. So it tells us that we have the same order. So these are two items on the same order. Item A-9000, oh, I'm sorry, that's the agency number. Item 03FFT1 and J0001. And what the shipment date is, what the quantity is, the unit of measure, the gross weight. If we need to drop any, so we have quantity available in pick bins, quantity in storage bins, and then quantity in other bins. And it also tells you if the quantity available in pick bins is negative, then there are pick documents that exist in excess of the pick bin quantity. So it gives you some information about what you need to drop, if anything. So on this, we have 173 available in pick bins, and we only have 4 on this order. So we don't have to drop any. And I think there's also a document on this report as well in the documentation for the items on released agency orders. So you can refer to that document for more information about how it works if you're not using a warehouse activity plan. All right, so that is the items on agency orders. So again, to recap, we have covered several reports: the aged accounts receivable and aged parent accounts receivable report, the parent agency and agency listing report, the top agency list report, the agency item statistics report, and the agency item statistics detail summary, the agency and parent agency statement reports, the agency order status report, the items on agency orders report, as well as the agency days and hours form. So hopefully you learned a little bit about reporting in agencies and receivables, and we hope you join us for the next web class. Thank you.